I'm CBS 47's Brian Dorman with live coverage of the California-Mexico border as my month-long investigation into the impact fentanyl is having on our community and state continues. For us here in California, the #1 location for fentanyl trafficking, yes, it is still here at the San Ysidro port of entry. The governor released an exclusive statement to CBS 47 News specifically for this investigation. We drove to Sacramento and sat down with the general to talk about what his soldiers are doing here at the southern border. It's a tragedy that spans from California to Utah. A former Fresno State basketball coach never thought that his son, a basketball star turned football standout, would play a deadly game with fentanyl. But he did, and in 2022, at 26 years old, his dream of making it to the NFL ended.
Grief, I'm going to grieve the rest of my life because that's my son.
Be addicted to fentanyl. How does that feel? What is the effect on your body? How do you get out of that? Speaking to all of these folks, the lifespan of somebody who is addicted to fentanyl is only 4 to 5 months.
Oh my gosh.
And so it was really eye-opening to have these conversations and really just all encompassing this project of 4 weeks, really to just invite as many people to the conversation as possible. Listen, you and I sat down in January, we were talking about this very topic. During that interview, you told me something that was concerning in Fresno, that folks for the first time over the past year have become addicted and seeking out fentanyl intentionally. In his late 20s, Danny started chasing his next high by seeking out fentanyl on purpose. He wasn't able to count the many times Narcan brought him back to life. How often were you using fentanyl?
I would say multiple times a day, every single day. If I died, that was just part of the game.
As somebody who is now sober, how does it feel to hear yourself say that?
Oh, it's crazy.
Fresno is now the first city in the state of California and only the second in all the country to adopt this ordinance, your ordinance.
Yeah, we are second to Honolulu. So it was actually their initiative that I learned about that gave me the idea to do this. And there is actually a bill in the state legislature right now to mandate that Narcan be carried in every first aid kit in every workplace.
We have geared and kind of tailored this project to parents. What is your message to parents who are watching right now?
Just to not be afraid to have these uncomfortable, difficult conversations.
I'm bringing as much awareness to every person I can reach.
Hearing it from us is from a mother that's been through it, does make an impact on the kids more than just hearing it from someone on a video.
Talk to your children every single day about fentanyl.
Pamela lost her 22-year-old son Jackson to a fentanyl overdose nearly 8 years ago now. Pamela, I can't thank you enough for being here tonight. You are so brave to talk about Jackson. You really are.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Thank you
welcome.
for doing this.
Test strips can be used to determine if drugs contain fentanyl. Drug recovery experts say those test strips can save lives, but they're not legal in some states.
Test. Don't do drugs by yourself. We think test strips should be readily available.
You have to empower the user to protect themselves, and they can't do that by themselves.
If I can spare them that kind of pain, it will have been worth it.
As we have seen tonight, there are no easy solutions. Fentanyl is poisoning our friends, our families, our children. No one is immune. Here in San Ysidro, it is still the #1 place for fentanyl being trafficked into the state of California. But we got an inside look recently at the newest hotspot. Nogales is just 1 hour south of Tucson down Interstate 19, a border town that some 20,000 people call home. The road leads you to this port of entry.
This would be the Mariposa truck crossing.
Led by U.S. Customs and Border Protection's Port Director, Michael Humphreys. Humphreys, along with his team of nearly 500 U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers, are responsible for what moves in and moves out of here.
We're bringing in millions upon millions of pounds of food a day, produce, frozen shrimp, fish, that again, 20,000 people aren't going to eat here. It's going throughout the U.S. So everything we do here in Nogales, Arizona means something to people on the West Coast, East Coast.
Commercial drivers are lined up for as far as the eye can see. Humphrey says most products in your home that don't say made in the U.S. came through a southern port on one of these trucks.
Yeah, we get stuff that I'd never seen before.
These vehicles are scanned through large X-ray machines. The screening process is similar to the TSA screening process you experience at the airport. Using the latest technology, Border Protection is looking for anything that doesn't look right. From October 2023 to May of this year, nearly 300,000 commercial vehicles were inspected at this port alone. A similar process plays out on the other side, where cars are crossing the border. Contact is made with the drivers, some vehicles are scanned, and canine officers are put to work to sniff out illegal drugs.
Most folks coming through are coming through for legitimate reasons. We have to find that small needle in a haystack or needle in a stack of needles.
Humphreys uses social media to spread the word about the vast amount of illegal drugs. In early May of this year, nearly 1 million fentanyl pills and nearly 5 pounds of fentanyl powder were found hidden in door and floor panels. Another 24 pounds of fentanyl powder was found by canine teams, hidden in a modified headlight, with nearly 233,000 fentanyl pills concealed throughout this car. 700,000 fentanyl pills found in these food cans and cartons. The smugglers getting more creative in their effort to get fentanyl across the border. It's a lucrative business, and for them, it is worth the risk.
Go home and pray the rosary. No, you're not. At the border, we don't open the trunk and say, wow, there's a bag of fentanyl. It's deeply concealed.
And the largest recent catch was made on May 31st. More than 3 million fentanyl pills were found by officers in these steel beams that made up the floor of a trailer. And it's not just fentanyl making its way north. Meth, cocaine, heroin, guns, and ammunition have all been seized at the southern border. Pete Flores, acting deputy commissioner of Customs and Border Protection, flew in from Washington, D.C. to talk to us about the ongoing battle. He took us inside a highly secure area where drugs and weapons are stored. What does it mean to get this much fentanyl off the streets?
So it means a number of lives we've saved.
At least 70% of counterfeit street drugs across the United States are laced with fentanyl. Most of it crosses the border through ports in Arizona and California. Mexican cartels control the drug pipeline, and they still heavily rely on China and India for their raw supply. But they're growing more sophisticated, enough to press their own fentanyl pills.
All counterfeit, right? Counterfeit to resemble Oxycontin pills, the M30s. That's kind of what that manufacturing looks like from a counterfeit perspective. So every one of these pills could potentially be a death on the street by themselves.
But Flores says no matter what is being taken off the streets, when it comes to our children, education is key.